Court is in session. Justice Mankiewicz has joined the court today for a pretty serious story. What do you have, Anna?
Fox News was reporting on a high-speed chase, and the high-speed chase actually ended in the suspect committing suicide. Now, let's take a look at Fox News's coverage leading up to the suicide.
So we have a very serious situation, a carjacking suspect, and clearly traveling at a pretty good rate of speed. Maybe he's just a part-time shoot at cop suspect, carjack suspect. Time to get out of the vehicle? Might it be? No. Now this scares me. What are you doing out in the middle of nowhere, getting out of the car? It's possible guy could be on something.
Now, he pulls out a gun, he's about to commit suicide. Shep Smith says, "Get off it, get off it." So he's telling the producers, we need to get off it. But the producers did not get off it. They showed the suicide. After they aired that video, they came back to Shep Smith, and here's what he had to say.
That didn't belong on TV. We took every precaution we knew how to take to keep that from being on TV. And I personally apologize to you that that happened. We see a lot of things that we don't let get to you because it's not time appropriate, it's insensitive, it's just wrong. And that was wrong. And that won't happen again on my watch. And I'm sorry.
Shep's such an interesting character. You know, oftentimes he's at odds with executives at Fox, and sometimes he'll kind of let you know about it on air. And apparently, the last time he did that, I said, whoa, that was pretty serious, because he was talking about conspiracy theorists on the right-wing side and took a pretty broad swipe at them. And apparently, Ailes, Roger Ailes, who runs Fox News, pulled him in after that and said, hey, watch yourself, right? So now we don't know if this was a dispute between him and his producers, or the producers just screwed up, right?
Yeah, I mean, they probably, I didn't see it, but they had clearly not very long to get off it, although it only takes one button.
Isn't there also a delay, though? And with the delay, can't you do something to prevent it from airing?
No, that's less clear. And I've worked in cable news, and I work now, and I know there's been situations where the producer will not listen to what the host is saying.
Sure.
Okay. And so it's possible that the producer was telling Shep in his ear, we're staying on it, we're staying on it. Because as the executive producer of a show, you get to make that call, right? And so we don't know which one of those it was, but like, who's right? So that's the real question. Now, look, the audience is not ready for it. Some are going to be really disturbed by it. On the other hand, it's reality. And so do you show it or don't you show it? Anna?
Well, when it's on live television and there's absolutely no warning, I would say don't show it. Just because you don't know who's watching. And I know people will argue that this is a dumb argument, who cares, we shelter our kids too much, but some people might be watching with their kids. And do you really want your kids to see someone commit suicide?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not bothered by it at all, for whatever reason.
Neither am I.
I know that it happens. Me seeing it doesn't make it any worse. The kids' argument's an interesting one. And I'm torn on as to whether we should show it right now. I mean, obviously, we'll give you a warning if we're going to do it, and that's part of the question we're asking here. What do you think, Ben?
It's not whether really if you're bothered by it. I mean, I think it's crazy not to be bothered by it, to be honest. I find it, I'm surprised that you guys aren't bothered by it at all. We're looking, I get that people kill themselves, and I get that it's awful at the moment that they kill themselves, but it's incredibly voyeuristic. Whatever this guy did, and the idea that he stole a car and he may have shot at police just based on what we heard Shep say, you know, he committed a crime like Johnny Lewis, the story we reported on earlier. This guy may have been on something. It's a horrible, horrible moment of panicked, absolute depression, the worst somebody could be. And we're watching it, and there's part of us who are going to, some of us are going to be watching it and being like, yeah, do it. Do it.
Yeah.
And we don't need any part of that.
You know, but it's interesting. So I want to take a vote here as to whether we should show it. But I know that even as I ask that question, that a lot of people in the audience right now are, show it, show it. I know it.
Let me jump in really quickly. Another thing to keep in mind is, since that video now exists, it will exist forever on the internet. And another thing that people never keep in mind are the family members, right? So he has parents, he has family members who don't want to see that video. But now it's inescapable. It's inevitable that they will see that video unless they're very, very cautious and they avoid it. So
you know what's interesting? That's what I don't care about. Like, I mean, I care, and I feel bad for their family, and it's a horrible, horrible thing. I care about what it means for all of us in a bigger deal. Like, that whole thing is going to be terrible for the families, and somebody loves that guy, and that's going to be horrible for them. But I mean, like, by the same token that the victims of the survivors, the victims of abuse, or the survivors of if somebody's killed and the family members don't get to mete out justice. The Michael Dukakis question from 1988, if your wife were raped or killed, what would you do? And he's like, well, I would give that horrible answer. Yeah, I would kill the guy from limb to limb, but you don't leave it up to me. And thank God that you don't leave it up to me. So, like, their reaction matters less to me than what it says about all of us. And are we the kind of country, are we the kind of people, are we the kind of society, do we have the kind of connections where we're going to watch someone in their lowest moment and kind of get a little thrill out of their death?
Yeah, I don't. That's the other thing I'm not convinced about, that people get a thrill. Some do, no question, right? I think there's natural curiosity. There's a lot of reasons why you might want to see it. So, do you think we should show it?
No.
Anna?
I say no because of respect and compassion for the family members.
JR and Jesus?
Yeah, with warning, so people can have the choice of whether or not they want to see it. Again, about what the TV does and censors us and stuff, we're adults. Yeah, if you're watching with your kids, that's your fault. You're watching anything violent anyway that you don't want your kids to see, stop watching violent things with your kids. If it cuts into them watching their cartoons, okay, this isn't cartoons anymore. Get up. So they're not in your house, So we're so shielded from anything that's death. We don't think it's real. Remember when soldiers were coming home, they wouldn't even air because the Bush administration didn't even want to air the coffins because death is real. And so we do things, people do stuff all the time like, I got my guns, and they don't think that this is actually going to kill somebody. They think they're in a movie because that's the only time we see fake death. So I'm not saying you need to be educated and see some death, but the thing is, if you do, maybe you realize this is real. This isn't playing around, and we're not children. If you get nightmares from it, yeah, look away, don't watch it. But kids get nightmares from this stuff. You want to keep their innocence. Right. I get that.
I got you. Jesus. That was a compelling argument by JR, by the way. I think he's come close to swinging me.
The fact that I already saw it makes me feel a little bit torn because it's kind of, you just have that really nasty reaction to you're like, that you don't want to see it. So I'm kind of a little torn, but I would have to lean don't show it because of that.
All right, I was leaning towards show it because now in the case of the soldiers, it's really important you see the real cost of war. You definitely show that, in my opinion. In this case, we're not making grand decisions about this guy, but JR still swung me because I thought, look, you know what? Maybe somebody who watches this one day was thinking of suicide, and maybe they see it and they go, wow. And maybe it makes them think that it's not the right thing to do, right?
Yeah, or the opposite happens. They get on TV. They went out gloriously.
I hear you. But we did have a vote. Even if I vote with JR, it's 3-2 against, so we're not going to show it. It's on the internet. Obviously, you can find it if you want to, but that's the decision we're going with.